Holy shit, are you seeing this? Astronomer Dr. Lyra Vex nearly choked on her coffee as she stared at the monitor. The massive object that had appeared seemingly out of nowhere was now blocking a significant portion of the night sky. Her colleague, Dr. Zephyr Quark, rushed over, his eyes widening in disbelief. What in the name of Galileo's beard is that? Before either could speculate further, every screen in the observatory flickered to life, displaying a message that would change the course of human history. People of Earth, we are the Galactic Council. Present your planet's leader for evaluation. You have 48 hours. The message repeated in every known language, leaving no room for misinterpretation. Panic spread like wildfire across the globe as governments scrambled to respond. In Washington, D.C., President Astra Novak paced her office, her face a mask of concern. This can't be happening. Who the hell do they think they are, demanding our leader like we're some kind of anthill? Her advisors sat in stunned silence, their usual bravado replaced by a palpable fear. General Flint Steele, known for his unflappable demeanor, cleared his throat. Madam President, we need to decide quickly. Who exactly are we sending? Novak's eyes flashed with determination. Well, it sure as hell won't be me. I'm not about to hand myself over to some spacefaring bullies. As debates raged in capitals around the world, a different kind of discussion was taking place in the United Nations. Secretary General Kodo Osei addressed the emergency session, his voice steady despite the chaos. Ladies and gentlemen, we face an unprecedented crisis. The question before us is not just who we send, but what message we want to convey. Ambassador Ixora Finn of the small island nation of Luminera stood up, her vibrant sari a stark contrast to the somber mood. With all due respect, Mr. Secretary General, perhaps we're approaching this all wrong. They asked for our leader, but who says a leader must be a politician or a figurehead? Her words sparked a murmur of confusion and interest. Fenn continued, her voice growing stronger. In my culture, we believe that the purest wisdom often comes from the most unexpected sources. What if we sent someone completely unexpected? As the implications of her suggestions sank in, the room erupted into a cacophony of voices. Some called it brilliant, others deemed it insane. But in the midst of the arguing, a seed of an idea had been planted. Meanwhile, in orbit, the massive alien ship loomed ominously. Its sleek, obsidian surface reflected the pale blue glow of Earth, a silent reminder of the ticking clock. Inside the vessel, Supreme Counselor Xyloff clicked its mandibles in irritation. These humans are perplexing. How can a species so fractured hope to present a unified leader? Junior analyst Meeple nervously adjusted its sensory appendages. Perhaps, exalted one, that is their strength? A multitude of voices instead of a single authority. Xyloff's compound eyes narrowed. Nonsense. Order comes from hierarchy, from clear chains of command. These humans will learn that, one way or another. As the deadline approached, Earth's nations found themselves in an unprecedented position of agreement. The plan was audacious, perhaps even foolish, but it was the best they had. In a small town in Nebraska, blissfully unaware of the weight about to be placed on her tiny shoulders, four-year-old Piper Quinn giggled as she chased fireflies in her backyard. Her parents, watching from the porch, had no idea that in less than 24 hours, their daughter would become Earth's most important diplomat. The stage was set. Humanity's fate would rest in the hands of a toddler. And the universe was about to get one hell of a surprise. The Oval Office buzzed with tension as President Novak faced her crisis team. "You want us to send a what?" she exclaimed, her face a mix of disbelief and exasperation. Secretary of State Orion Thorne cleared his throat. "A child, Madam President. Specifically, a toddler. Have you all lost your minds?" Novak's voice echoed off the walls. "We're facing potential annihilation, and your bright idea is to send a preschooler?" UN Ambassador Luna Eclipse stepped forward, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the president's agitation. "With respect, Madam President, it's precisely because the stakes are so high that we need to think outside the box." The Galactic Council expects a politician, a military leader, or a scientist. By sending a child, we show them something they can't possibly anticipate. General Steele, who had been silently brooding, suddenly perked up. It's so crazy it might actually work. Think about it. What better way to showcase humanity's potential than with our most innocent, most imaginative representatives? Novak slumped into her chair, massaging her temples. And how, pray tell, did you select this toddler diplomat? Thorne pulled up a holographic display. Meet Piper Quinn, age 4, from Whispering Pines, Nebraska. She was chosen through a complex algorithm factoring in intelligence, creativity, and an uncanny ability to charm even the grumpiest of adults. The image showed a grinning little girl with wild curls and mischievous green eyes. Novak couldn't help but smile despite herself. She's adorable, I'll give you that. But how do we explain this to her parents? To the world? That's where it gets tricky, Luna admitted. We're preparing a global address, but we need to move fast. The Quinn family is already en route to a secure facility. Across the globe, similar conversations were taking place. In Beijing, Premier Zhu Wei paced his office, muttering, "A child? The Americans have finally lost their minds." In Moscow, President Volkov slammed his fist on the desk. This is madness. But perhaps madness is what we need. As dawn broke over Whispering Pines, Nebraska, the Quinn family found themselves in a whirlwind. Black SUVs, stern-faced agents, and a helicopter ride later, they arrived at a top-secret base. Piper, oblivious to the gravity of the situation, bounced excitedly. "Mommy, Daddy, are we going on a space adventure?" Her mother, Arya Quinn, tried to smile through her worry. "Something like that, sweetie. Remember how we talked about being kind to new friends? Well, you're going to meet some very new friends soon." Piper's father, Jasper Quinn, knelt beside her. "Piper Bear, you're about to do something very important. The whole world is counting on you to be yourself, brave, kind, and a little bit silly." As teams of experts rushed to prepare Piper, global reactions to the plan ranged from outrage to cautious hope. Social media exploded with memes, prayers, and heated debates. At Cosmic Skeptic tweeted, "We're dooming humanity over a playdate." Hashtag We Are Screwed. At Hope for Stars replied, "Maybe innocence is exactly what we need in the face of the unknown." Hashtag Trust and Tykes. In orbit, the alien ship hummed with anticipation. Supreme Counselor Xyloff reviewed the latest reports. The humans are sending a single representative. Prepare the evaluation chamber. Junior analyst Meeple fidgeted nervously. Exalted One, our scans detect something unusual about their choice. Perhaps we should dash. Silence. Xyloff boomed. We are the Galactic Council. We do not alter our protocols for primitive species. Prepare for their arrival. Back on Earth, final preparations were underway. Piper, now dressed in a specially designed spacesuit adorned with rainbows and unicorns, giggled as she spun around. "Look, Mommy, I'm a space princess." Arya Quinn fought back tears as she hugged her daughter. "You're the bravest space princess ever, sweetie. Remember, just be yourself." As Piper was led towards the shuttle that would take her to the alien ship, she turned and waved cheerfully. "Bye-bye. I'm gonna make lots of alien friends." The world held its breath as the tiny ambassador blasted off towards the unknown. In homes, offices, and public squares across the globe, people gathered around screens, united in hope and fear. President Novak, watching the launch from the Situation Room, whispered, "Godspeed, little one. The fate of humanity rests in your tiny hands." As Piper's shuttle approached the massive alien vessel, she pressed her face against the window, eyes wide with wonder. Wow, it's like a big space cookie. The universe was about to witness the most unusual diplomatic mission in cosmic history. And little did anyone know, Piper Quinn was about to turn intergalactic politics upside down with nothing more than a smile, a giggle, and a handful of crayons. The cavernous docking bay of the alien vessel swallowed Piper's shuttle hull, its metallic maw closing with an ominous hiss. Inside, Piper bounced on her toes, barely containing her excitement. "Are we there yet?" Can I meet the space friends now? She chirped, tugging at her escort's hand. Commander Zara Starwind, the stoic astronaut chosen to accompany Earth's tiny ambassador, took a deep breath. Remember, Piper, just like we practiced, when the door opens, you dash. I say hello, really big, and give my best smile. Piper interrupted, beaming. Zara couldn't help but chuckle. That's right, kiddo. You've got this. With a pneumatic whoosh, the shuttle door slid open. A phalanx of towering, insectoid aliens stood at attention, their compound eyes reflecting the shuttle's lights in a dazzling array. For a moment, silence reigned. Then, hi space bugs. I'm Piper. Wanna play? The little girl's voice echoed through the bay, causing several aliens to flinch in surprise. Supreme Counselor Xyloff stepped forward, mandibles clicking in confusion. This is the leader of Earth? A larva? Before Zara could intervene, Piper had already scampered down the ramp. She stood before Xyloff, craning her neck to look up at the towering alien. Wow, you're tall. Can I ride on your shoulders? Pretty please. Xyloff's antennae twitched in bewilderment. What? No, small human. We are here for serious matters. Where is your world's true leader? Piper's lower lip trembled. But I am a leader. Mommy says I'm the boss of my toys, and Daddy says I lead the way in making messes. A ripple of what could only be described as alien laughter spread through the gathered council members. Junior analyst Meeple stepped forward, its eyes sparkling with curiosity. Fascinating. Exalted One, perhaps this is a test? A demonstration of their species' ingenuity. Xyloff's compound eyes narrowed. Or a mockery of our sacred protocols. Human, explain the meaning of this childish display? Zara, who had been watching the exchange with a mix of terror and amusement, finally found her voice. Esteemed Council, we chose Piper as our representative because she embodies the very essence of humanity, our curiosity, our potential, and our capacity for growth. Growth! Xyloff boomed. You send us an undeveloped specimen and speak of growth. Piper, oblivious to the tension, had become fascinated by the shimmering, iridescent exoskeleton of a nearby alien. Oh, pretty. You look like my sparkly crayons. Before anyone could stop her, she reached out and patted the alien's leg. The alien, a usually stern security chief named Crick Croc, let out a surprised chirp. Its exoskeleton rippled with colors, mimicking Piper's rainbow spacesuit. The tiny one, it provokes an emotion response. Most irregular. Meeple's antennae quivered with excitement. Extraordinary. The human larva possesses some form of empathic ability. Piper giggled, clapping her hands. Let's play rainbow. Everyone changed colors. To the shock of both humans and aliens alike, more and more of the gathered council members began to shimmer and shift, their exoskeletons blazing with a riot of hues. Xyloff, struggling to maintain composure, turned to Zara. What manner of technology is this? How does the small one control our chromatophores? Zara, equally baffled, shook her head. It's not technology, it's just Piper being Piper. Meanwhile, Piper had plopped down on the floor, pulling out a set of crayons and a coloring book from a pocket in her suit. Who wants to color with me? I've got lots of pages. To everyone's astonishment, Meeple hesitantly approached, its spindly limbs folding as it settled beside Piper. I would like to partake in this coloring ritual, small human. Yay! New friend! Piper cheered, handing Meeple a crayon. Here, you can be green. Green's a happy color. As more curious aliens gathered around, drawn by the unfamiliar sight of their analysts and security chiefs crouching over colorful pages, Xyloff found himself at a loss. This is unprecedented. We came to evaluate Earth's leadership, not to engage in juvenile recreation. Zara, seeing an opportunity, stepped closer to the Supreme Counselor. With respect, isn't this the purest form of evaluation? Piper represents our willingness to learn, to grow, and to find joy in the unknown. Isn't that what any good leader should embody? Xyloff's antennae drooped slightly, a sign of grudging consideration. Perhaps there is more to your species than we initially calculated. As the coloring session evolved into an impromptu art class, with Piper enthusiastically praising each alien's efforts, the atmosphere in the docking bay transformed. Rigid postures relaxed, mandibles clicked in amusement, and even the sternest of council members found themselves drawn into Piper's orbit of innocent wonder. Back on Earth, the tensions that had gripped the planet began to ease as the first images from the alien ship were transmitted. President Novak, watching a live feed of Piper teaching a group of aliens to make paper airplanes, leaned back in her chair with a mix of relief and amazement. "Well, I'll be damned," she muttered. The kid's actually pulling it off. As the impromptu cultural exchange continued, neither humans nor aliens realized that this unexpected encounter was about to reshape the very foundations of intergalactic diplomacy. And at the center of it all, armed with nothing but crayons and in boundless spirit, Piper Quinn was unwittingly charting a course for humanity's cosmic future. As the hours ticked by, the alien ship's sterile docking bay had transformed into something resembling a cosmic kindergarten. Piper, now comfortably seated on a makeshift throne of discarded exoskeletal molds, presided over her new kingdom with gleeful authority. "Okay, space friends, now we're gonna play Simon Says," Piper announced, her voice carrying an authority that belied her tiny stature. Xyloff, still struggling to maintain some semblance of control, clicked his mandibles in frustration. "This is preposterous. We are the Galactic Council, not some hatchling daycare." But his protests fell on deaf ears, or whatever passed for ears among the varied alien species. Junior Analyst Meeple, now sporting a crayon-drawn smiley face on its carapace, turned to its superior. "But Exalted One, is this not the most thorough evaluation we've ever conducted? We're experiencing their culture firsthand." Zara, watching from the sidelines, couldn't help but smirk. She leaned toward Xyloff, whispering, "You know, on Earth, we have a saying, out of the mouths of babes oft-times come gems." Xyloff's compound eyes swiveled towards her. "Explain this cryptic human wisdom." "It means," Zara continued, "that sometimes children in their innocence can reveal truths that adults overlook. Just watch." As if on cue, Piper's voice rang out. "Simon Says, give your neighbor a HUG." The result was instant chaos. Aliens of all shapes and sizes awkwardly attempted to embrace one another, some wrapping multiple limbs around their neighbors, others simply bumping exoskeletons together in confusion. "No, silly," Piper giggled. "Like this." She toddled over to Crick-Croc, the once stern security chief, and wrapped her tiny arms around one of its legs. The massive alien froze, its exoskeleton flickering through a kaleidoscope of colors. I feel warm," Crick-Croc stammered, its usual gruff voice softened with wonder. Piper beamed up at the towering alien. "That's 'cause hugs are like little hearts saying hello." A collective awe echoed through the chamber, the sound oddly distorted through various alien vocal apparatuses. Xyloff, despite his best efforts to remain aloof, found himself oddly moved. "This hug, it serves a diplomatic function." Zara nodded, fighting back a chuckle. "In a way, yes. It's a universal gesture of affection, of breaking down barriers." As the game continued, with Piper introducing the aliens to everything from duck, goose to red light, green light, something remarkable began to happen. The rigid hierarchies and protocols that had defined the Galactic Council for eons began to soften. Meeple, emboldened by the playful atmosphere, approached Xyloff with an idea. "Exalted One, what if we incorporated some of these games into our evaluation processes? They seem remarkably effective at fostering cooperation and revealing hidden traits." Xyloff, watching as a group of high-ranking counselors attempted to play patty cake with their various appendages, found himself nodding. Perhaps there is wisdom in this madness. Meanwhile, Piper had moved on to storytelling, regaling her rapt alien audience with a tale of princesses, dragons, and magical unicorns. The story, while simplistic by adult standards, seemed to captivate the aliens in a way no formal diplomatic address ever had. And then the princess said, "We don't have to fight. We can all be friends," Piper declared, waving her arms dramatically. Crick-Croc, now fully invested in the story, leaned forward. But small human, what about the ancient blood feud between the dragon clans and the unicorn herds? Piper blinked, momentarily confused, then grinned. Easy. They have a big tea party and talk about their feelings. That's what mommy and daddy do when they're mad. The simplicity of the solution seemed to stun the aliens into silence. Then, slowly, a ripple of understanding spread through the gathered council. Meeple turned to Xylof, its voice filled with awe. Exalted One, do you realize the implications? Centuries of intergalactic conflicts, potentially resolved through playdates. Xylof, for the first time since the humans had arrived, let out a sound that could only be described as a laugh. By the cosmic egg, this tiny human has done more to reshape our thinking in a few hours than centuries of formal negotiations. As the impromptu playdate continued, news of the unprecedented diplomatic success spread throughout the ship and back to Earth. In the White House Situation Room, jaws dropped as they watched live feeds of some of the galaxy's most feared warrior races engaged in an intense game of musical chairs. President Novak, her earlier skepticism long forgotten, turned to her advisors with a grin. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we've just revolutionized intergalactic diplomacy. Get me the Nobel Committee on the line. And someone find out if they've got a Category 4 cosmic peacemaking through playtime. Back on the alien ship, as Piper led her new friends in a rousing chorus of If You're Happy and You Know It, complete with mandible clicks and tentacle waves, the universe stood on the brink of a new era. An era where the boundaries between species, planets, and galaxies would be bridged not by treaties or technology, but by the universal language of play. And at the center of it all, blissfully unaware of her cosmic impact, Piper Quinn giggled, doodled, and hugged her way into the annals of intergalactic history. As the Earth's rotation brought a new dawn, the world awoke to a reality forever changed. The alien ship, once a looming threat, now orbited peacefully, its hull adorned with crayon drawings and glitter, a testament to Piper's diplomatic makeover. Inside the vessel, Supreme Counselor Xylof addressed the assembled Galactic Council, his exoskeleton shimmering with newfound vibrancy. Fellow beings, we came to this planet seeking to evaluate its leadership. Instead, we found ourselves educated. A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber. Meeple, now sporting a hand-drawn name tag that read Piper's BFF, stepped forward. Exalted One, I propose a motion to revise our first contact protocols. Perhaps we've been too grown up in our approach. Xylof nodded, his antennae twitching thoughtfully. Indeed, the humans, through their young one, have shown us that there's more to leadership than strict hierarchies and formal negotiations. Sometimes the path to understanding is paved with finger paints and laughter. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Piper's parents found themselves at the center of a media storm. Jasper Quinn, still in his bathrobe, blinked in bewilderment at the forest of microphones thrust before him. Honestly, folks, we're as surprised as anyone. We always knew our Piper was special, but intergalactic diplomat. That wasn't exactly in the parenting books. Arya Quinn, cradling a mug of much-needed coffee, chimed in, though it does explain why she was so good at negotiating extra cookie rations. As news of the unprecedented diplomatic success spread, reactions varied across the globe. In New York, the UN General Assembly erupted into cheers and applause. In London, bookies scrambled to adjust odds on the next Nobel Peace Prize recipient, with Quinn P. suddenly skyrocketing to the top. In a secret bunker somewhere in the Nevada desert, a group of conspiracy theorists sat in stunned silence. So, it wasn't lizard people? One finally muttered, tearing down years' worth of elaborate string charts. Back on the alien ship, Piper was blissfully unaware of her cosmic impact. She tugged on Xylof's lower limb, eyes wide with excitement. Mr. Buggybug, can we have a space tea party now? Pretty please with Stardust on top. Xylof, to the shock of his subordinates, found himself nodding. I suppose that would be acceptable, young Quinn, but I must insist on proper tea party protocol. As Piper gleefully set up an impromptu tea service using various alien artifacts and a liberal application of imagination, Zara pulled Meeple aside. "So, what happens now? I mean, this is great and all, but Earth is still, well, Earth. We've got our issues." Meeple's antennae wiggled in what Zara had come to recognize as a smile. "Ah, but that's the beauty of it. Your Piper has shown us that every civilization, no matter how advanced, has room to grow. We're not here to judge, but to learn and share." Across the ship, alien scientists pored over Earth transmissions with newfound interest. What was once dismissed as primitive entertainment was now seen as a treasure trove of cultural insights. Sitcoms were analyzed for conflict resolution techniques, while cooking shows sparked debates on xenobiology and nutrition. In the ship's newly designated playroom, formerly the high-security briefing chamber, Crick-Crock led a group of junior analysts in a rousing game of Red Rover, their exoskeletons clanking as they charged back and forth. As the day wore on, plans were made for cultural exchanges, scientific collaborations, and at Piper's insistence, the galaxy's first interspecies ballet recital. President Novak, addressing a global audience from the Oval Office, struggled to maintain her composure. "My fellow Earthlings and our new cosmic neighbors. Today marks a new chapter in human history. We reached for the stars and found friendship, and it's all thanks to a little girl who saw not aliens, but potential playmates. In homes and gathering places across the planet, humans of all ages found themselves digging out long-forgotten toys, dusting off board games, and rediscovering the simple joy of play. Global tensions eased as world leaders, inspired by Piper's example, approached long-standing conflicts with a fresh, more playful perspective. As the alien ship prepared for departure, promises of return visits and playdates were exchanged. Piper, cradled in Zara's arms, waved goodbye to her new friends. "They're space buddies. Don't forget to brush your mandibles and eat your cosmic vegetables." Xyloff, his stern demeanor now permanently softened, raised a limb in farewell. "Farewell, young Quinn. Your species has much to teach the galaxy. We shall return, bearing gifts and games from across the cosmos." As the ship shimmered and vanished into the depths of space, Earth let out a collective breath it didn't know it had been holding. The threat of cosmic judgment had passed, replaced by the promise of a universe full of new playmates and adventures. Piper, finally succumbing to exhaustion, nestled against Zara's shoulder. "Can we do it again tomorrow?" she mumbled sleepily. Zara, looking up at the stars with newfound wonder, smiled. "Something tells me, kiddo, that the game's only just beginning." And as night fell on a changed Earth, a new lullaby echoed in homes around the world. "Twinkle, twinkle, little star, I know exactly what you are, a friend I haven't met yet, waiting to play."